The offertory of the Mass begins with the offertory antiphon, which is read from the Missal in the loud voice. All the other prayers of the offertory are said in the quiet voice. Since the priest must perform many actions while saying these prayers, they must either be memorized or read from the altar card.
Oremus. Procede Domine plepum tuum per signem sancti crucis ab omnibus insidiis inimicorum omnium, ut tibi gratum exhibiamus servitutem et acceptabile fiat sacrificium nostrum. Alleluia.
After he finishes the offertory antiphon, he takes the rear corners of the chalice veil and removes the veil from the chalice. He then folds the chalice veil, which he lays on the epistle side of the altar. Or he may hand it to the server, and the server can fold the veil. The priest then lays his left hand on the altar, takes the chalice with the right, and sets it to the epistle side. He uncovers the chalice and sets the pall aside, leaning it against the back of the altar or the altar card. He then takes the paten with the right hand and brings it to the center over the corporal. His left hand meets the paten in the center, and holding the paten with both hands at the level of his breast, he lifts his eyes up to the cross and then immediately lowers them. He then begins the prayer, Suscipe Sancte Pater. The paten should be held at the edges with the thumb and forefinger of both hands. The other 6 fingers should be underneath the paten with the fingertips touching. The priest should keep his eyes fixed on the host for the entire duration of this prayer. When he says the Amen at the end of the prayer, he lowers the paten to a few inches above the corporal and makes the sign of the cross over the place where he will lay the host. He then tilts the paten towards the center and slides the host onto the corporal at the center of the crease nearest him. The left hand is laid on the altar, and the right hand slides the paten halfway underneath the middle of the corporal on the epistle side. He takes the chalice in the left hand, and with the right hand he wipes out the inside with the purificator and goes to the epistle corner. He places the purificator in the thumb of the left hand and drapes it against the side of the chalice, holding the chalice in the left hand just below the cup. The priest then takes the wine cruet from the server and pours in a sufficient amount of wine, enough that he can conveniently drink it in one swallow. The server presents the water cruet, which the priest blesses as he begins the prayer, Deus qui humane substantiae. He infuses a few small drops of water into the wine as he says the words, Per huius aquae et vini mysterium. It is customary in many places for the priest to make a slight head bow to the server after returning the cruet in recognition of his service. The priest then takes the purificator with the index finger of the right hand and wipes out any stray drops of water from the inside of the chalice. He then sets the chalice near the corporal with the left hand. With the purificator still in his right hand, he joins his hands and finishes the prayer, making a low head bow at the words, Jesus Christus. The priest then goes to the center, lays the purificator over the exposed part of the paten, with the open folds towards the back and the cross facing himself. He takes the chalice with the right hand and brings it to the center over the corporal, where the left hand meets the chalice at the base. He raises the chalice and recites the entire prayer, Offerimus tibi, with his eyes lifted up to the cross. At the end of the prayer, he lowers the chalice to a few inches above the corporal and makes the sign of the cross over the place where he will lay the chalice. The right hand takes the pall and covers the chalice. Any time the priest covers and uncovers the chalice, the left hand is laid at the base to steady it. The priest then joins his hands and lays them on the altar as he makes a medium bow of the body, and in this position he recites the prayer in spiritu humilitatis. Afterwards, he immediately says the prayer, Veni Sanctificator. The Veni Sanctificator is a short prayer which consists of several different movements. When the priest says the words Veni Sanctificator omnipotens aeterne Deus, he separates, elevates, and rejoins his hands in a small circle, as he did for the Gloria and Creed, only this time he also lifts his eyes up to the cross. At the words Et benedic hoc sacrificium, he places his left hand on the altar and blesses both the chalice and host together with the right hand. He then joins his hands and says the remainder of the prayer, Tuo sancto nomine preparatum. He then goes to the epistle corner for the lavabo.